Today on Unpacked.
You're just a child. You're just seeing your dad get physical and aggressive with your mom. And one day he just turned around and he started hitting on me. It's all those things that happened. And I just tried to be a brave human being the first time this comes out now.
Was the intention to actually take your life?
The intention was to end my life.
Today's guest speaks to us about her journey with depression, mental health, and her suicide attempt. Actress Nobuhle Mahlasela's battle with depression and anxiety has been a long and challenging one, with her trying to take her own life twice. Fondly known as Mimi, she has been in the entertainment industry for 15 years, working in television, film, and theatre, with her most famous role being that of Aggie on SABC2's award-winning soapie Laan. Today, she gets real about her mental health challenges and her healing journey. This is her story. Let's unpack. Nobuhle, thank you so much for joining us in studio and agreeing to have this conversation. Being a public figure, I think it puts you more out there. What actually made you decide to speak openly about your journey?
Thank you for having me. It wasn't, I don't think I reached a point where I was like, okay, I am deciding. I had just had enough of trying to maintain it and keep it under wraps because...
what do you mean maintain it?
Maintain my mental health issues because everybody, where I grew up in the township, it was always like, no, man, you're just seeking too much attention. There's nothing wrong with you. Everything is perfect. So I was trying to maintain it myself. And meantime, that was just doing more damage inside. So I had just had enough. And I thought, okay, I need help. I have to go and see someone. I no longer have... I don't know how to put it. I no longer have the skills to maintain it. I need a professional help to try and get me back to... I need to find myself, basically. That's where I was.
So you've spoken out publicly. It's been out, in media outlets, in the news outlets. Take us back to where that all began. You know, your first memory, your first experience that you're like, something is not okay.
I think it was the situation at home. I was still very young then. Obviously, there was domestic violence between mom and dad. I mean, that's a story that they will one day talk about. But I didn't realize how much it affected me. And obviously, with domestic violence, you're just a child. You're just seeing your dad get physical and aggressive with your mom. And one day, he just turned around and he started hitting on me. And I think after that day, I was just not the same. I was just not the same. I may have not understood or I was not able to express to the next person what had happened, but I knew what happened to me that night was not okay for a child to experience. So it was at a very, very early age.
How old would you say you were at that time?
I think at the time I was around 6, 7. Yeah, 6, 7 or 8, around there. It just didn't feel right. Like, even if he didn't physically hit me, the fact that I had to watch him every night become this monster and just spiral out of control was just a nightmare. Yeah.
So seeing as you are aware that that was a turning point in your life, what were the next events? Was it that the abuse continued, as in your direction and worsened after watching it happen to your mom?
Mom left after that.
That was her cutoff point?
Yeah. The cutoff point was like, okay, I'm an adult. I can fend for myself. I can defend for myself, but you just hit my child. She left after that, so we left dad. And things got better, obviously, because we moved out. Things got better. So I was sexually abused as a kid. It's the first time this comes out now. I blocked it out, so they also didn't know at home. They only found out when I was like 30. I didn't know this was going to happen now.
That's okay.
So it's...
Can we get some tissue? Yeah.
It's all those things that happened. And I just tried to be a brave human being. I just tried to be a brave human being. And the way it also came out at home, I think I was 30 years old. It came out in an argument with my brother. So,
do you mean came out as in you speaking out about it?
yes,
Or do you mean
me speaking,
you recalling what happened?
me speaking out about it, because my brother and I grew up in separate households, and he always thought I was okay in that other household while he was suffering in the other one. I was like, no. This is what happened to me. And it just came out in an argument, because we get like that with each other, and it was just a burst out, and it came out like that. So to get back to what you were saying, it got better because I didn't have to live with a domestic violence situation, seeing it every day. We moved out, we lived somewhere else, but I was carrying all this pain inside, and all this feelings of being ashamed and not being able to talk about the fact that actually someone tried.
Can we touch on that? And I think, obviously, obviously for you to be speaking out as you are, I understand the importance of somebody watching right now that's like, oh my gosh, that happened to me too.
Yeah.
And it being such a pivotal moment for you. I want to, tread delicately,
Yes.
but also to honor the moment for you. If you allow,
Yeah.
it is the first time for those of us that are here,
Yeah.
even hearing the story.
Yeah.
And I think it's an important part of the story. What did this take place while the abuse was taking place at Dad's home? Do you recall who the person was?
Yeah, I do recall. It did take place when Mum obviously left, and she was still sorting things out of where we're going to live and all of that. At the crèche that I used to go to, somehow I was always forgotten. Like, they'd always forget to pick me up, and I was still staying with Dad's side of the family. And the caretaker...
So Dad's side of the family, not Dad?
Not Dad's side of
yes.
the family. Yes. And the caretaker's son at the time, who was an adult. I mean, he was 18 and above. That's the person that did it. And yeah, the rest, I am speaking about it in therapy now.
Yes.
Because obviously I've got to go back that far to fix. We can't just fix the top. We've got to go to the root. So I have started speaking about it in therapy. I just remember the room, what it looks like. I remember the ceiling, because obviously I was facing up. I remember those things, but I blocked out the rest. So now I've got to unblock and try and find it and figure it out. So it's a lot. It's a lot, but I'm grateful that I started with therapy, and it's helping me with that.
And I think there's something empowering about naming something.
Yeah.
Giving it a name.
Yeah.
Obviously, it must be devastating and feel like you are being re-traumatized, having to relive it.
Yeah.
But I think, and I hope for you, that you get to own your own narrative.
Yeah, and that's what I'm planning to do, to own my own narrative, because for so long, I just felt ashamed to talk about it. And
you were a baby.
I also didn't feel like I didn't know how to explain it to anybody. So I carried it with me all the time. The only person, obviously, besides my family finding out, the only person that I told was my boyfriend. I told him, and then after that, I never spoke about it. Even in telling him, I just told him, I just never went into details, and we just moved on with our lives. So this time around, I honestly just want to change my story and just heal from inside, because, it's messed me up mentally a lot.
How did your brother respond? Because I find a common theme, I was having a discussion with my mom. She was watching some story about these two kids in the same home, where they were all being abused, but none of them knew. They only found out much later as adults. And the abuser being the mother in the home, actually, you sway them to secrecy. So every child thinks every other child had it better, but they were all suffering.
Yeah.
So how did your brother respond when you shared with him what had happened to you?
I think because I come from a home where we don't talk about how you feel or any issues that you have. I think that's just a coping mechanism at home. He didn't say anything till this day. you know. But I could see in his face that he was sad and he was angry somewhat because he wasn't there to defend me. And he's got his own issues as well that he's going. But I could see, like I say, we really don't talk at home. We just sweep under the carpet and we move on. It's a coping mechanism. It's not right. So I'm the one trying to break generational cycles here where I'm like, guys, we must sit down and talk. Like, I'm not okay. Let me know if you're not okay. So they think I'm a little extra at home, but they're trying to adjust to the talking about things, which is really cool because I know that they're trying to support me, especially with this whole therapy thing and just this whole healing journey. So yeah.
And how do you think they feel about the fact that you're speaking openly? Because now you're speaking publicly, and now indirectly the attention is also on them. How is that making them feel?
Phew.
Have they said anything?
Obviously, with the sexual abuse at a younger age, it's the first time that I speak about it publicly. I don't think that they would feel any negativity. They would be very supportive. My family is, well, my mom's side of the family, they're amazing because I grew up with them. So as much as they don't know how to communicate, I know they will show me their support.
In the way that they know how.
Yes. And as for the depression and the anxiety, they didn't quite understand, Guti, okay, girl, what are you talking about? Because you're happy. You're the happiest person that we know in this family. I'm like, that's the thing about people that suffer from depression. We always want to appease those around us so that they don't see what's really going on. But they've been supportive thus far. My communication skills with my mom have gotten so much better since I said to her, listen, I need therapy and I need to go and sort this out, you know. Some days we still argue a bit, but they are very supportive thus far.
Do you at all feel unprotected, like you weren't protected as a child?
Yeah, I do.
And I'm so sorry you had to go through that because when you are a kid, you know, we expect that that's the job of our parents.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine how hard that must have been for you.
Yeah.
And I hope that that forms part of your healing journey, you know.
Yeah.
So you now are actually seeing the things that have contributed to you feeling depressed. When was the first time you were able to put a name to it to say, I am depressed?
I was in grade 12 or just after grade 12. Because I'd have these, I'd be extremely happy the 1 minute and the next minute I'm extremely sad. And I just couldn't understand what was happening with me. And it was just after grade 12. And I think I had a fight with a girl in school at the time. And literally I was so mad, and I thought, because she was so horrible to me, and I was so mad, I went home that night and I tried to commit suicide because I felt, okay, I am this. I am obviously the bullying. I am a big girl. I am everything that she said about me was right. So I thought to myself, I'm also just going to end my life because I can't tell my family that I was sexually abused when I was younger. It's my fault that my parents separated because the fight was over
something that happened to you.
Yeah, and also like my dad's side of the family wanted to keep me and my mom's side of the family wanted to keep me. Like it was just a clash. And I'm like, so if I'm not here, they wouldn't have separated. So I carried all of that as well. So it was just after matric. And obviously the suicide attempt was not successful. And the following day when they took me to the doctor, I remember I said to the doctor, I'm just not okay inside. I don't know how to explain it to you. I don't know how to put it in words. But I go in a day, like I go from extreme happy to sad, and I'm just not okay inside. Yeah.
How did you try to take your own life the first time?
Overdose of pills. Yeah.
Was there something, I know some people speak about that when they try to take their own lives and then it doesn't work, they're like, it must be a sign, I'm meant to be here. Did you have that moment, or were you just like, but why?
To be honest with you, I didn't understand what I was going through. I really didn't understand so I didn't have feelings of, but why? Or maybe it's a sign that I need to be alive. I did not understand what was happening with me at all. I had no idea what was going on. I was just sad the following day also to see my family see me like that. That was all that was going through my head. Yeah.
So fast forward to, you've had a second suicide attempt. And we'll actually get into the detail about the suicide attempts. But I think the main thing I wanted to understand is how that build-up happened and how you got to a point where you're like, wow. So I'm taking it that you putting a name to it was you telling the doctor, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And then you got help and somebody said you are.
Yeah. I got help after that. I was diagnosed, obviously, with depression, clinical depression. They gave me antidepressants at the time. The biggest mistake that I did then, obviously, because I was young and I was not aware of what I was going through, I stopped taking the pills. And they say that's not a good thing. You've got to gradually get off them. So I just stopped after a month because I didn't want to be dependent on these things. I just stopped and I thought, I'm just going to push it through on my own and see how far I get. I should be okay. Any sad moments or any downfalls or dark hours that I had in my house, closed curtains, closed everything. And that's how I literally lived my life for almost half of it. Yeah, that's how I managed it. But I obviously had a recent traumatic experience. I lost a friend. I ended my relationship. Yeah, so that just triggered everything. And yeah, after that, I was just like, I need help. I just need help. I can't do it on my own anymore.
Your first suicide attempt, what exactly was going through your mind at the time? I've heard of people say I was just numb, I wasn't thinking anything. Others say I was just playing things in my head.
I just wanted to end everything. I just felt like I'm a burden to everyone around me, to my friends and my family. I just wanted to end everything that was happening. And I felt like with me gone, it would be better.
Better for everybody or better as in the pain for me will be over?
Now that I know, it definitely wouldn't have been better for everybody. You know, I thought it would be better for everybody because I felt like I was a burden to my family and my friends. I mean, you leave them with the pain and you leave them with the trauma of having taken your life. At the time, obviously, I just wanted to end my pain too, and not live in this dark hole that I was in. And that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to end everything.
So now you get treatment, you go off your medication because you don't want to be dependent, which is completely understandable. What is the build-up to the next suicide attempt and when was that?
It was still issues that I didn't deal with. And also just growing up and encountering other traumatic incidences that I also, like I said, when we were speaking of ages now, that I've never dealt with any of my issues. I've never sat down and said, okay, this is what's happening. How do we deal with it? I just block and move on, block and move on. So it all amounted and it just added on. It was just adding on into a bucket. And eventually I was just like, okay, I can't do this anymore. There's so much to fix. I don't want to fix it. I don't have the energy.
You don't know where to start?
Yeah, like it's a lot. And I thought to myself, I must just end it. I've got to stop. I literally have to stop.
So talk me through the second time. When was that? What happened?
It was during a fight again, at the time with my boyfriend, well, ex now. I need to get used to this because it was also such an early breakup and it was 20 years.
Yes,
so I'm like, where are we ex? Where are we again? It was in a fight with him and we were fighting like any other couple would fight. We were arguing. He knew about issues that I had and we spoke about it and we always tried to sort them out. But more than anything, your partner can only be supportive to some extent. You've got to fix yourself. You know, like they're not going to fix you. We were in a car driving home and I literally jumped out of a moving car.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was the intention to actually take your life or was the intention jumping out because you were just reacting to what was happening in that moment?
The intention was to end my life because I won't sit here and lie and say my partner was abusive physically. He wasn't. He wasn't at all. I couldn't bear the argument we were in at the time and the issues that we were facing in our relationship, and I just wanted to end it. Yeah. Yeah.
What was it about that particular argument that was so triggering that it triggered things that made you want to take your life again?
He reminded me so much of my father. And in that argument, the things that he was saying, they took me back there in my head. Yeah, they just took me there where Dad was just not okay. He didn't fight for his family. He didn't fight for me and my mom and my brother. And he was beating up my mom all the time. So it took me that argument in that car took me there in my head. And I just felt like I can't relive this again. I've got to let go. I can't. I don't want to. I just want to die.
Ooh. So that moment you jump out of a moving vehicle.
Yeah.
What happened straight after that?
I remember when I jumped out, the car was about to take off because we're at the traffic lights. So it wasn't on high speed. Just when it was about to take off, I opened the door. I took off the seatbelt, I opened the door, and I jumped out. I don't remember what happened after that. Obviously, I'm assuming he stopped. Obviously, he was freaked out. I remember waking up in hospital, in Sunning Hill Hospital. I woke up there and my friends came in. And he told me what had happened. So I was in hospital for a few days after that. Because the car wasn't on high speed, I had bruises on my knees. I think I still do have them. And I didn't have major injuries though. After that, I went to counseling when I was in hospital. Obviously, they called in a therapist to speak about what happened. Yeah, I think that was it. But still, even after that, I just never acknowledged what happened and I never wanted to talk about it. I just wanted to move on. Yeah.
Do you think you are at a much better place, the fact that you're able to even speak about the event? Because you're saying even then you didn't want to talk about it. Are you sitting here with me thinking, I don't want to talk about it, but I have to? Or you're sitting here thinking, I'm okay to talk about it?
I'm okay now to talk about it. It's just a matter of having blocked out all the details of what happened because I didn't want to see myself in that light. I didn't want to know or to see myself having being the girl that jumped out of a moving car, the girl that tried to kill herself. So, yeah, but I'm okay to talk about it now. And because I've started the process of healing with therapy, I'm okay to talk about a lot of things now. They still make me cry. They still make me sad. But I'm proud that I got help and I went to therapy because I don't think I'd be sitting here had I not. Yeah.
Do you think with the different incidents that took place that the people around you got more aware, more educated, or that it kind of made things worse?
It hasn't made them worse. They got more educated because at first, especially at home, they didn't quite understand what was going on with me. They're like, why are you always sad? And then the next thing you're always happy. Like what's it? So now it's more, they are more informed with what's going on. And also with me going to therapy, I come back and I share what my homework is from therapy. And they're like, oh, so this is what's happening with you. And okay, so this is real because you know, in our communities, Black communities, that is, we never talk about mental issues. It's always a,
It's almost like they don't exist.
like, awukho right, ungakhulumi, just stay there with your issues. So it's opened a communication channel at home with my family that has been so amazing because now I can say, when I'm not happy about something, I can say to my mom, listen, what you said the other day did not. So it's helped a lot. It really has helped a lot with my family. And with my friends, I mean, Obviously, we're a different generation. We are aware of what's going on. We know about mental issues, but the support and the love has been so amazing. I don't know why I wanted to end my life. Like, my friends are the dopest people I know and my family. So I would have missed out on all that love that I'm experiencing now, you know? So it's been really, really amazing.
What do you think the depression, the suicide attempt did to your long-term relationship?
I doubted myself a lot. I didn't love myself enough. I wanted, it ruined it, but I'm picking up the pieces now and building my long-term relationship with myself and knowing, I lost myself. I didn't know who I was anymore. So I'm finding who I am again. I'm loving myself and I'm just exploring and just showing myself love and just not thinking that I'm the worst person alive.
And I think sometimes when we have these kinds of discussions, we also forget the impact. Hence, I keep asking about the relationships around you, the impact that depression has. You don't suffer alone. The moment, especially when you come out and speak about it, it has an impact on the people around you.
Yeah, it has had an impact because the friends that I have now, I had in high school, and they also didn't quite understand what was happening with me at the time, you know. Some friends I've lost now because I suppose they could pick up something's not right and they just distance themselves from me or they just remove themselves. But I'm grateful for the ones that stayed and it hasn't been all bad. Yeah, I can't sit here and say it's been like really, really, really bad in terms of the impact on the other people. It's been okay, and we can only grow from this point on.
What is your current relationship with your father like?
Non-existent.
As in he's still around, but there's no relationship at all?
Yeah, he is.
Does that include his family as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you find that you needed to cut them off as well because they were part of a bigger issue?
Yeah.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with the fact that you're cutting off dad's family because it just reminds you of him.
I honestly just had to cut them off because it reminded me of the issues. But the challenging part now in therapy, they're saying I've got to revisit and forgive so I can move on because I'm holding myself in trauma still. Yeah.
Does forgiveness for you mean having a relationship again or just means forgiving and continuing as things are?
At the moment, my number one priority is myself. So forgiveness for me is just forgiving and moving on peacefully. Yeah.
Has dad tried to reach out?
No.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I would have loved for him to reach out, but the last time I saw him, we didn't part well, so yeah.
Somebody at home is watching and they're thinking to themselves, when I hear about depression, people say therapy, they say medication, but they also say they're still dealing with it. I don't understand. Or for lining. What do you say to that person? Because it can be confusing to the person that's never had to deal with it or know somebody who's dealing with it.
Yeah. Look, the one thing that I can say, most of the time people think that there's no help. Once you've got depression, it's a wrap. Like you are, angeke kusalunga empilweni yakho, like you're better, why, and that's not true. There is help. Therapy for one. It helps to talk about it. I'm still in my early phase of therapy, so I don't think with mental issues there isn't a set date. You're good, okay? If you pata 2 weeks or in pata bese so polil, like it's a continuous journey. And going to therapy and talking about it and educating about yourself about what you are going through also helps. So that's how I'm viewing it, at least at the moment. There is no set date as to when will you get better. But I believe that one does get better by doing the work that one needs to do, going to therapy and talking about it and just showing yourself love. That's what I'm experiencing now. I'm like, oh man, I love you.
And I can see it, man. I never ever measure or assess by what I see online. But now
Yeah.
that I'm with you in person,
Yeah.
the energy is completely different.
Yeah, so it's a continuous journey. But do know that there is help, because I know people are scared to talk about it because they think, there's no help. It means it's the end, and even with the medication, that not everybody has to go on medication. It depends where you are in your stage of depression. Like, so that's why I say just seek the help so you can know your way forward. Yeah, your next step, sort of.
But also for us to understand that it's not necessarily there's an end goal. You can have all the support you need, even the internal support, but it can be something you live with for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it can be that. And you have great days and then you have bad days, but don't stay too long on the bad days. Pull yourself out. Like, if you must cry, cry. If you must, allow those days to happen, but next day get up and move.
So today, in this moment, where are you in regards to your depression?
I think I am just at a stage where I am enjoying life and I'm just kinder with myself, because I feel like I put so much pressure on myself as well to be okay at a certain time. And I just need to remember that it's a journey, and I need to allow the process to happen. So I am at a place where I'm able to talk about it now. I'm sitting here and talking about it, and that's a good thing, So that's where I am at the moment, to just share light of what I've gone through or am going through.
Do you still have active thoughts about trying to take your own life? Do you still have those moments of, it would be so much better if I just wasn't here at all?
No, not currently. And I hope I don't have them ever again.
I think you are at a much better place, and I think it's so great that you're sharing publicly. More and more people need to hear the stories, need to share their stories for us to destigmatize.
Yes.
Especially what you said about the fact that some of the homes we come from, things are not spoken about.
Yeah.
What would you like to share to the young person watching, or the not so young person watching, who is suffering in silence, going through what you went through?
I would definitely want to share that you are worthy, you are enough, you are important, and you deserve to be here as well. That's why you are here. And please seek help. Just speak to someone. Like, this can be sorted out, or just speak to somebody. The moment you start speaking to somebody, it's the moment where you are freeing yourself from being alone and silent about this. Yeah.
So, Nobuhle, I mean, you've already shared with some of the people at home that might be resonating with the things that you're sharing, some advice for them. What would you say to the loved ones of people that need to support those you were speaking to earlier?
Don't turn a blind eye. I think we are at a time in our lives where we cannot ignore that mental issues are there and people need to take care of themselves in terms of mental state. So don't turn a blind eye. If you see that your sibling or your partner their behavior has changed, they sleep a lot, because sleeping a lot is part of depression. It's one of the symptoms. They sleep a lot and their behavior has changed. Try and speak to them and find out what's going on. That thing, it's been highlighted everywhere now. We've got social media. People are talking about mental health and mental issues. So people do know that it is out there. So it's not an excuse anymore to say, no, we're just going to go this way and not act like we know what's going. Talk to them, find out what's happening, and just show love and support. It is so important. Even if they don't want to talk, don't give up. If I come to you today and I say, I see you're not okay and then you don't want to talk, no, don't give up. The next day, try again. Don't just let it go. Like, just if it means nagging them, nag them so that they are able to talk and free themselves. Yeah.
What do you wish your family had done or said to you and for you?
I wish they would have taken more notice of what was going on with me, and not... I know it's a defense mechanism at home, and not just not want to talk about it, because the first time that I tried the first attempt of suicide, the following day we didn't speak about it. It was as if nothing happened. So that time, after that day, I feel like they could have done more to just say, listen, you've just freaked all of us out. Let's talk. What's going on? What are you going through? So that's the only thing I honestly feel they They should have just reached out more.
And then if Dad is watching, what would you want him to know?
I'm mad at him, but I want to fix it. Yeah, I would love to fix it.
And if he wants to reach out, should he?
Not now. I am fixing myself, but at a later stage, because it's just a vulnerable state now, I would appreciate it.
I'm even getting emotional because it's like, it's very heavy.
Yeah.
I can feel how heavy it is for you.
Yeah.
And I have a dad, I have a father, and it's painful when we are not speaking for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
Hence,
Yeah.
I'm trying to see, and I hope in time everyone can heal.
Yes.
I hope in time, especially you.
Yeah.
I hope you can heal.
Thank
you for talking to us. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for, we don't come to these conversations to say, we want to get an exclusive. We're just like,
yes, yeah.
we know the story.
Yeah.
We want to unpack the story.
Yeah.
We want to unpack the Nobuhle that we see on screen acting with the Nobuhle who's actually dealing with real issues. But we also want to unpack a subject that is more common than we think it is. So thank you for being a part of that with us. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it as well.
Chat with us on the socials, #Unpacked with Relebogile. And I'm sure those of you that you know and love as me would appreciate your messages of love and support. But please make sure you are also loving and supporting those around you. Let's stay kind. Let's be kind. We don't know the silent battles that people are walking around with. And if you are someone that is suffering, there is help. We always put up organizations' details at the end of the show. One of them being the South African Depression and Anxiety Group. There are toll-free hotlines. Help is available, especially if the people around you do not have the capacity or the know-how to support you. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that this story inspires you to, help those around you and to be able to help yourself. Thank you for joining us. Good night. Next time on Unpacked.
About 10 minutes later, she came back and was like, Sadie Brown, you tested positive for HIV.
If anyone has a problem with my status, they should come to me.
There are adults who wouldn't be able to face up to they were trying to humiliate you and bully you. Unpacked with Relebogile Mabotja. New episodes weekdays at 5:30 p.m. on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Television edited broadcasts weekdays at 5 p.m. Open up to S3.